A series of fruit orchards in the area had been ravaged by wild boars attacking under cover of night. The growing damage left locals both anxious and helpless. That's when a friend of mine, a veteran hunter, reached out and rallied me along with our brothers in arms to take action. We moved from Chris's house toward the nearby mountain, constantly scanning our surroundings. Danger could strike at any moment. There it is. A wild boar was charging directly at us. I swiftly got into position and pulled the trigger without hesitation. The bullet hit dead center. The boar dropped instantly. A smooth and promising start. After that first encounter, we quickly shifted to a nearby hilltop to avoid exposing our position. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed from a distance. Wild boars. Shaking off the disappointment of our last failed attempt, we wasted no time and pressed on. Soon, we spotted a lone wild boar sprinting through the brush. I rushed to intercept it. Right as it broke cover, I squeezed the trigger. The ambush worked perfectly before it could make a sound. The boar collapsed in a cloud of dust and smoke. By now, fatigue had set in. We decided to return home and rest. That afternoon, we feasted on the spoils of the hunt. Fresh wild boar dishes shared among the team. It was 2 p.m. when we resumed the hunt, cautiously moving along the silent slopes. Suddenly, dark silhouettes emerged along the hillside. This was our chance. We sprang into action, got into position, and took aim. Gunshots rang out, but unfortunately, we were too hasty. Not a single bullet hit. And just like that, the boars vanished into thin air. Before we could even catch our breath, our hunting dogs picked up a new target and began driving it toward us. Sensing the urgency, I raised my rifle, keeping my eyes locked on the boar's every movement. With just one well-placed shot, the boar dropped instantly. It was a swift takedown, but one that required patience, precision, and solid instincts. The late afternoon sun bathed the hills in golden light, making them look deceptively peaceful. But this was actually prime habitat for wild boars, where they lived and bred at breakneck speed. They're clever and fast, often weaving through dense foliage to escape danger. But not this time. We had already locked onto them. that final victory, we wrapped up and headed back because staying in the wild after dark is a gamble no hunter wants to take. That's a wrap for this hunt. What did you think of today's adventure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow more. Thanks for watching.
Ana! Ne oldu lan?
On the majestic peak of the Great Dividing Range in Victoria, snow blanketed everything in sight. At first, I came here for a vacation and to visit a friend, but after hearing about the dangers caused by wild boars invading the streets, I decided to pick up my gun and embark on a hunt across this unfamiliar land. Our hunting team set off early in the morning. After nearly an hour of travel, we reached the Great Dividing Range in Victoria. Through the lens, we spotted our target. Several wild boars were moving about, then settled on an open patch of land, seemingly basking in the sun's warmth. And this was our chance. From higher ground, I locked in on the strongest boar and pulled the trigger. A thunderous shot echoed through the Grand Mountains. One wild boar took a bullet and collapsed shortly after. Against the vast white snow, the dark silhouettes of the wild boars stood out starkly. We spotted a herd. Once I was certain one had entered my crosshairs, I firmly pulled the trigger. With a single shot, the wild boar instantly collapsed on the snow. The rest of the herd fled in a panic, but shortly after, we successfully took down another target. The excitement surged as we encountered a herd of nearly 10 wild boars on the run. I aimed for the fattest ones and fired. Each shot hit true, and the results were truly satisfying.
Yatıyordu görüyor musun?
Using a strategy of splitting into smaller teams and surrounding from all sides, we kept spotting more targets. Just over there, a wild boar digging through the snow fell directly into our sights. At over 500 meters away, the bullet still flew with precision and power. After the shot, the boar quickly collapsed on the cold snow. After the recent round of gunfire, we reloaded and continued moving. From high above, we spotted a wild boar. I was sure it had been hit, but it wasn't down yet. So we started tracking and pursuing it. After a while, a dark figure emerged. I rushed after it and fired the final rounds, finishing off the massive boar. On the other side of the ridge, a boar quietly hid among the dense vegetation. But escape was impossible. My friends had surrounded it. From the mountaintop, volleys of bullets rained down. Exhausted, the boar tried to crawl away, but the lethal shots crushed its last hope of survival. Despite the freezing weather, sweat still poured after the relentless chases. Yet none of us even considered stopping, and our perseverance paid off. This time, we found another large herd. Breathing heavily, we chased them down and pointed our barrels forward. However, the accumulated fatigue seemed to affect our aim. Most bullets missed. Only one wild boar was injured and left behind. A few more shots rang out, and at last, after all our efforts, that wild boar was finally taken down. At this point, we were truly exhausted. The entire team decided to head back home after a thrilling day of hunting.
애가 고싶어, 애가 고싶어.